Hi everybody, so this is going to be my first book review of the series that I'm starting this new year in 2011, and I'm starting off with the most recent book that I've finished because it's still fresh in my mind. So this review is going to be on the Hunger Games series, and there's 3 books in the series which I will be discussing now. I don't really have a set way of how I'm going to kind of go into it, but I don't want to spoil the book. So when you watch my reviews, don't worry, I'm not going to give any details away because I know how frustrating that can be when you're reading a book and the surprise is taken out of it. So I'm going to start off with the first book, and I guess I'll just go through the characters a little bit to give you an idea of exactly what the book is about without giving away any details. So The Hunger Games is a book about survival. Every character within the book is having to survive, and they have to beat all odds in order to just live. So the main characters in the book are Katniss Everdeen, her friend, her hunting buddy, I guess you would call him Gale Hawthorne, and her Hunger Game buddy, which would be Peeta. And pretty much it's like a twisted love triangle, but it's very complex. So the Hunger Games, what that is it's pretty much in the future from now. So we as a society worldwide have entered like really horrible wars. We've used nuclear weapons on each other, and we've pretty much decimated the population. So out of all the survivors of all of our wars, we've only have like 13 districts and a capital city. And within those districts, they're there based around natural resources. So they're there for a purpose. They're not just there to live. They're not, camps or something. They're cities built around natural resources. So the story takes place with the main characters coming from District 12, and District 12 is the coal mining district, and that's pretty much their function. So every district has a natural resource, whether it's the ocean and their fishermen or it's coal, and they need to work the natural resource and then give all the stuff that they work for, all their collection, to the capital city. And pretty much the capital city owns everything. So it's almost like an internment camp. You can't leave, you have no rights, you have to follow the rules or you die, pretty much. And so it's a whole thing about survival. So starting off in the first book, you see Katniss and her sister Prim and her mom, and everyone in District 12 is starving. So the main cause of death in District 12 is starvation, and the second cause of death is accidents in the coal mine. She has a little sister and her father's deceased. So she has taken up the role of provider by sneaking underneath the gates of District 12 and hunting. Now this is extremely illegal. She can be put to death and her family can be punished as well. But because everyone in the district is starving, she has like a black market going on where she can hunt and she can provide food for the rest of the community. So no one really ever, knocks her on it. She's able to do this as long as the peacekeepers, which is kind of like the cops, don't catch her. So that's her role. She's a very good hunter, and her weapon of choice is the bow and arrow. So she's very good, and her father taught her. So that's pretty much the premise of the story. She's surviving, and the capital pretty much are the bad guys. They're evil, and the head honcho in the capital is President Snow, and he does not like to be embarrassed, and he doesn't like to relinquish control. He's a control freak. So a few generations back, I think probably about 75 years from the start of this story, there was a rebellion, and because of the rebellion, the capital and President Snow has decided to punish the districts by enslaving them in these camps around their cities and imposing peacekeepers in on them to control their every move. And President Snow has also developed something called the Hunger Games. So the purpose of the Hunger Games is to show that the Capitol controls the district. The Capitol wants to remind the districts on a yearly basis that they have the control, and that if they fight or rebel against the Capitol, that they're going to all die. So the Hunger Games is pretty much a torture for every single district, and what you're doing is you're giving up your children. So every year from the time that you're 12, you put in one name into a bucket, and every year thereafter you put in twice, or one more. So if you're 12, you put in one. When you're 13, you put in your name twice. When you're 14, you put in your name 3 times, all the way up until you're 18. And of course, the older you are, the more times you have to put your name into the bucket, and therefore the more likely you are to be chosen for the Hunger Games. And considering everyone's starving in the districts, you can exchange another name to put another name tag inside the bucket to be called in place for food. So you're buying your way pretty much in. And so since everybody's starving, they're having to do that. They're having to take on more names and put more names in just to get food for their family. So it's a really bad thing. And the Hunger Games themselves are televised. It's mandatory to watch them, and it's every man for itself. So you're chosen, your name's chosen, drawn out of the bucket. There's 2 people from each district, and their name are just pulled, 1 boy, 1 girl. And the Hunger Games themselves, there's only 1 victor, and you're having to kill every single other person in order to survive. So the whole thing is survival, and you're put against other victims. You have to kill other victims in order to become safe yourself. And so this is what the story's built around. I don't think this will be too much of a shock, but pretty much Katniss and Peeta are chosen to go to the Hunger Games, and they're representing District 12. And I'm not going to give any more away from that, but from the first book all the way through the 3rd book, something horrible happens in each book. Now, I think that's a good background of the story itself. I do want to say a little bit, like the first book is, you know, Peeta and the struggle between winning the first Hunger Games and surviving that. The second book is a big shock. I was so surprised with the second book that, I mean, I was going out of my mind. Just complete shocked. I was not expecting that at all, what happens in the second book. And then the 3rd book was just the topper. It just kept going. When you think something's gonna work out okay, it just like, I'm speechless. I'm just speechless. I finished this whole series about 2 days ago, and I'm still reeling from it. The last book will make you cry. It's from beginning to end, it's just a disaster, and it doesn't leave you with a good, hopeful feeling in your heart. You're feeling really depressed and like crappy. But it was a really good book. So it's one of those stories where it's more about the message than anything else. It's really about humanity and how far you'll go to survive. And so even though it's a really sad story, you still take a message from that story. So I highly recommend this series. It was very sad, but very intense. It was very intense, and definitely it was a good read. It was a very good read. I'd highly recommend this story. The violence was extreme. It was an extremely violent story, but definitely I recommend this book. I also wanted to say thank you to Diva Daisy 88, one of my viewers who recommended the Hunger Games to me. I want to thank her very much, because this was an excellent read. And yeah, if you have any other books that you would like me to read, I'm always searching for a good book. And also I want to explain the outfit real quick. One of the main things about Katniss is that she is a survivalist. She hunts so it's very minimal, and she always has her hair braided down the back, and so I decided to go a little theme today and do that as well. So yeah, explaining the whole lumberjack type of um, attire I'm wearing right now. So yes, I am very, very thrilled about this book. This series is amazing, and I highly, highly recommend it. I think I'm going to do like a star type of pointing range. So a 5 would be amazing, can't get any better, and a 1 would be like, don't rate it at all because it's worthless. Yeah, so I would definitely give this 4.5. Only because it was so sad. I like stories that uplift me and make me feel more positive, but this story was just so sad that I just felt so horrible afterwards. So I give it 4.5 stars instead of 5, just because of the feeling that, you know, it's still with me. I still feel really sad, and it's been 2 days since I finished it. So thank you very much. I will be doing another video, and the next one will be on the uglies. So stay tuned for that. I will talk to you guys later. Bye.